Welcome to this first lesson in my video course for IELTS speaking. In this lesson I'll just do three simple things. First, I'll talk to you about the three parts of the test, the timing and basically what happens in those three parts. Then I'll look at the scoring system that examiners use, how they score you, how they give you your band. And finally, I'll give you some overall advice about how I think you should approach the IELTS test. Some things that you should do, you shouldn't do, methods, techniques, that kind of general advice. First then, the timing and the parts of the test. The test lasts between 11 and 14 minutes overall, and the examiners have to time that very strictly. So you might see the examiner looking at his or her watch, because it's very important that the test length is the same for everyone. So it's between 11 and 14 minutes. The test is divided into three parts. Part 1 lasts between 4 and 5 minutes, Part 2 3 to 4 minutes, and Part 3 4 to 5 minutes again. That's how it adds up to 11 to 14 minutes overall. On this course of video lessons, we're going to look at those three parts in much more detail. Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. And I'll give you tips, techniques, method, a way to approach all those three parts of the test, plus some ideas, some vocabulary ideas, topic ideas for the common questions that you might see in those three parts of the test. Now I'll tell you quickly about the scoring system in IELTS speaking. Examiners give you 4 separate scores which are each worth 25% of the overall band that they give you. First, they're looking at fluency and coherence. Can you speak fluently and do your answers make sense? Second, they're looking at vocabulary. Of course, this is a language test, so they're looking to see if you use any good language in your answers. Third is grammar. I don't think complex grammar is what examiners are looking for. I don't think they hear that as much as they hear mistakes. For me, the grammar score is all about trying to avoid making too many mistakes. If every sentence has more than one mistake, it's going to stand out. The examiner's going to notice that. So trying to reduce the number of mistakes that you make. Finally, the 4th score is for pronunciation. That does not mean accent. This is what confuses some people. It doesn't matter what accent you have. You can have an accent from any country in the world. But pronunciation is about how clearly you pronounce your words and phrases. That's what we need to focus on for that part of the score. So those are the 4 scores that the examiners give you. I'll be giving you advice on this course about how to improve your score in those 4 areas. Finally, I'll give you some overall tips about how to approach IELTS speaking. Of course, I'll give you advice in much more detail in the later lessons in this course, but just for the moment, some overall advice. First, I think it's important for you to be ready for the test. That means, first of all, knowing what to expect. You need to know exactly what's going to happen in the test, and you also need to know what the examiner expects from you. A quick example of that: if you're giving long answers in IELTS speaking part 1, then you're doing the wrong thing. You haven't prepared, or you don't know what to expect in part 1. You should know in part 1 that there's going to be fast questions and you have to give short, fast answers. So that's an example of being ready, knowing what to expect and knowing what the examiner expects from you. A second important tip is natural language instead of difficult language. A lot of students seem to be focused on, I think I need to use difficult words in this test, difficult grammar. No, that will just stop you. It will make you speak more slowly as you're thinking. Instead, I recommend that you go for natural conversation. You should try to answer as quickly as you can. You can think a little bit, but not too much, because that will be a hesitation that could affect your fluency score. I would recommend just saying the first thing that comes into your mind. The examiner is not judging the quality of your answers. They're looking at the language that you use. and the fluency of those answers. So it's much better just to say the first thing that comes into your head and then try to keep going about that than it is to stop and think and worry about grammatical constructions. A few things that you shouldn't worry about. You shouldn't worry about body language, eye contact, the quality of your ideas or opinions, whether the examiner might not agree with you. None of those things matter. It's not an exam that's testing your body language, your eye contact, or your presentation skills. Not at all. Also, you don't need to worry about the examiner's body language, eye contact, or friendliness. Some examiners are very friendly, others aren't. Sometimes the examiners who seem unfriendly actually surprise you with a good score. Finally, the last two most important things, tips, pieces of advice for me to give you in this lesson are about what I'm trying to do on this course for IELTS speaking. The two things that I think I can help you with. One, having a method. If I can give you a method, an approach for the three parts of the test and the different types of question, then you'll be ready, you'll know what to do in each part, and you'll go into the exam feeling confident. So the first thing I can do is to give you a method or methods for the three parts of the test. The second thing I can help you with is preparing topics and common questions. The good news in IELTS speaking is that they often repeat the same questions or the same topic areas in all three parts. So I can help you prepare for that with some good ideas, some good vocabulary, so we can have fluent answers with good language and not too many mistakes, and that should cover most of the requirements of the scoring system. Those are the two main things that I'll be focusing on in the lessons on this course.